Good evening, children.
Good evening. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. We'll discuss these questions and then take up the test, children. So see the first one here. Find the length of each side of a square whose area is equal to the area of a rectangle of length of 40.8. Last class I started this. You remember?
Yes, ma'am.
But we didn't finish this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. You might have watched some of these questions in the videos, but I still want to explain it just to make sure that all of you have watched the videos and understood it clearly. So as we discuss now, please clarify your questions. Let me finish it first. So find the length of each side of a square. So we have to find the length of each side of the square park, whose area, so that is the area of the square park, is equal to the area of a rectangle. So it's given that the area of the square park is equal to the area of a rectangle. So whatever is the area of the rectangle is the area of the square park. The park is square in shape. This is a rectangle. There are two different shapes. One is a square, the other is a rectangle, but their areas are the same. Tell me the dimensions of a square and a rectangle where their areas are the same, children. Tell me a rectangle, meaning give the dimensions of a rectangle and a square where their areas are equal. Yes, I'm waiting for the answer.
Ma'am, you are asking which type of rectangle has same dimensions, ma'am?
No, my question is, give the length and the breadth of a rectangle and give the side of a square where the areas are equal, where the area of the rectangle is equal to the area of the square. I want you to tell me the length and breadth of a rectangle and the side of a square, in which case their areas are the same. What answer I want from you is, I want you to tell the length and breadth of a rectangle and then the side of a square, and you must be able to show that the area of the rectangle is equal to the area of the square. Okay, maybe I'll give one and then you can try more. So say there is a rectangle of length 8 meters and breadth 2 meters. A rectangle of length 8 meters and breadth 2 meters. What is the area of this rectangle? What will be the area of this rectangle?
16 meters square.
16 meters square. Now there is a square whose side is 4 meters. There is a square whose side is 4 meters. What is the area of the square?
16, ma'am.
16 meters square. 16 meters square. So here in this example, we have a rectangle of length 8 meters and breadth 2 meters. And we have a square of side 4 meters. And we see that their areas are equal, but they'll have different shapes. The rectangle is more longer, right? You understand, I don't have to tell you that. So you can imagine a rectangle of dimensions 8 meters and 2 meters and a square of side 4 meters. They look different, but their area will be the same. Their area will be the same. Like this, I want to give you some more. I want you to give me some more examples.
Ma'am, can I try?
Yes.
The area of a rectangle is 36 meters square and the length is equal to 9 meter and the breadth is equal to 4 meters. So the side of a square will be 6 meter because 36 when squared gives 6.
Because the square root of 36 is 6. Very good. So as Madhumita rightly pointed out, you should pick a square number. See, it's not that you should pick a square. It's like, see, it can be now 2 point. Okay, let's not go to decimals, children. This is just to understand. So now say, take up the square number 100. So if the area of a square has to be 100 meters square, then the side of the square must be 10 meters. A square of side 10 meters will have area 10 into 10, 100 meters square. So if 100 should be the area of a rectangle, it can have different dimensions. The rectangle can be of length 20 and breadth 5, or length 25 and breadth 4, the product of which is 100. Or it can be, tell me, it can be what? It can be 50 by 2, 50 into 2 is 100, 25 into 4 is 100, 20 into 5 is 100. So like this, a rectangle of length, say 25 meters and breadth 4 meters will have area 100 meters square. And a square of side 10 meters will have area equal to 100 meters square. So like that, in this situation, in question number 1, we need to find the length of the side of the square part, whose area is equal to the area of the rectangle. So the area of the square and area of this rectangle, they're equal. And the dimensions of the rectangle given to you, length 40.8, breadth 10.2. So what do you first do? You first find the area, L into B. Just tell me if you have any difficulty in this multiplication. What I can tell is just multiply 408 and 102. Simply multiply 408 and 102. The product is 41616. And you have one decimal place here and one decimal place here. So the product should have 2 decimal places. Now here in 40.8 there is 1 decimal place. In 10.2 there is 1 decimal place. So the product must have a total of 2 decimal places. So which is why it is 416.16. So this is the area of the rectangle. So but we are given that the area of the square is equal to the area of the rectangle, which means the area of the square is also 416.16 meters square. So if this is the area of the square, its side will be the square root of this number. And we find the square root using the long division, and which gives us 20.4. So the length of each side of the square is 20.4 meters. Any questions here, children? Any doubts with the first answer?
No.
Okay. See, if any issue with the long division, I'll give you some time, just have a look. 2 2s are 4. 2 2s are 4. 2 into 2 is 4. See, after grouping, I told you after the decimal point, we group in this direction. Before the decimal point, we group in the opposite direction like this. After the decimal point, we group from left to right. Before the decimal point, we group from right to left like this. We go backwards like this. We go backwards, we don't go forwards. A decimal point, before the decimal point, like this in this direction, we group. After the decimal point, like this in this direction. So decimal point, so 16 is a period and 4 stands alone. And here again, after the decimal point, 16 makes a period. 2 2s are 4, 0 is the remainder, 16 comes down, double the quotient, 4. 1 itself will be too much because 41 into 1 will be 41, but we have only 16 with us. So we need to add a 0 and bring the next pair down. But since the next pair is coming after the decimal point, this pair 16, this pair is after the decimal point. So we need to place a decimal point there. When you bring down this 16, it just comes down. But when you have to bring down this pair, since this pair is after the decimal point, you need to place a decimal point and then bring it down. 0, 0. Then bring the next pair down. But before bringing it down, because it's after the decimal point, place a decimal point there. And then 1, 6 comes down. Now we have 1, 6, 1, 6. We have 1, 6, 1, 6. And 404 into 4 is 1, 6, 1, 6. The remainder being 0. Okay. In question number 2, we are given the area of a square park. The area of the square park is 4 hectares. Hectare is a unit for area, children. Large areas. Large piece of land is measured in hectares. An area of 10,000 meters square is equal to 1 hectare. Now, how do we imagine this 10,000 meters square? Now, when I say something, you must be able to visualize it. Now, at school, you know, you have this 100-meter running race. 100-meter running race. That distance is 100 meters. You have 200 meters, 100 meters running race, 200 meters, then you have 400 meters relay. So you're definitely familiar with that. So you can now get that in your mind. When you take part in a 100-meter running race, that is the distance. 100 meters is that distance. A square of side 100 meters will have an area of 10,000 meters square. Just imagine that. So you know what is 100 meters, you know. What length makes 100 meters, you know now. Running race, 100 meters. That distance which you run is 100 meters. Now, if you have a square piece of land of side 100 meters, so it will be 100 all over. All the 4 sides will measure 100 meters. The area of that square will be equal to 10,000 meters square. And that area of 10,000 meters square is called 1 hectare. Do we understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So an area of 10,000 meters square. There's a big piece of land. It need not be in the shape of a square. Now you know that to get this product 10,000, you can get this product 10,000 by different combinations. It can be a rectangular piece of land also. It can be a rectangular piece of land. Now tell me if the land is rectangular in shape, then what can be the dimensions to get an area of 10,000 meters square? Yes. Okay, so I'm not getting any answer. So now you can maybe
Two, ma'am.
What?
5,000 into 2, ma'am.
5,000 into 2. Okay, not practical, but it's correct. It's not practical. You know, 5. Okay, maybe the area of a road. You know, if you take a strip of road, ROAD road. So that can be, you know, an area of a part of the road. It can be, the road may be 5,000 meters long and 2 meters broad. Possible. Okay. Or it can be 125 meters by 80 meters. 125 meters by 80. Talking about a piece of land. I hope you understand when I say it's not practical. A piece of land cannot be, you know, 5,000 meters long and 2 meters broad. You know, a piece of land. Okay, it's not. You can consider. I'm talking when I say a piece of land, I'm talking about a plot of land, but it's still fine. That will have an area of 10,000 meters square. So you could consider 125 meters. 125 meters by 80 meters. The product is 10,000 meters square. So maybe there's a piece of land where you can build a house. It's 125 meters long and 8 meters broad. 18 meters broad. 18 meters. We'll have an area of 10,000 meters square. So now this area, this plot is also, this plot also has an area of 1 hectare. So the shape is immaterial. If the area is 100 meters, sorry, If the I got a message and it distracted me. I'm sorry. Yeah. So if the area of any plane surface, if the area is 10,000 meters square, then it's equal to 1 hectare. So like, for example, we said 100 meter by 100 meter, a plot of land whose each side measures 100 meters has an area of 10,000 meters square. A rectangular piece of land, a rectangular plot of land, 125 meters long and 80 meters broad, will have an area of 10,000 meters square. So this area is equal to 1 hectare. So the area of a square park is 4 hectares. That means 40,000 meters square. 1 hectare, 10,000 meters square. 2 hectares, 20,000 meters square. 3 hectares, 30,000. 4 hectares, 40,000 meters square. So the area of a square park is 40,000 meters square. Express the area in meters square is the first question. So that is simple, 40,000 meters square. Then you have to find the perimeter of the square park in meters. So to find the perimeter, you need to get the side. Without the side of the square park, you cannot find the perimeter. So first we find the side, you know the procedure. So first we find the side, and using the side we find the perimeter. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now for the next one, children, I'm going to give you some different numbers to explain the next one. Please find the, the LCM of 2, 3, 6, and just a second. Okay, just 2, 3, 6. Let's take 2, 3, 6. Find the LCM of 2, 3, and 6.
6, ma'am.
So 6 is the LCM of 2, 3, and 6. Now, the question is, now 6 is, now this will be biased, 1 second. Let me include 4 there, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Let me include 4 also. Now tell me, children, 2, 3, 4, and 6, children.
12, ma'am.
12. Yeah, so you could probably make a note of these numbers in your book so that you understand. So now consider the numbers. We are talking about question number 3. We are trying to understand question number 3 with different numbers. We're trying to understand question number 3 with different numbers. So here we find the LCM of 2, 3, 4, and 6. 2, 3, 4, and 6. What is the LCM of 2, 3, 4, and 6?
12.
All of you agree?
ma'am.
12. Is 12 a perfect square?
No, ma'am.
No, it's not a perfect square. It's not a perfect square. Okay, it's not a perfect square. Now the question is, okay, is 12 exactly divisible by 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Is 12
Yes, ma'am.
divisible by 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is 12 exactly divisible by 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is 12 exactly divisible by 6?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, now read this question number 3, children. Find the least number. Leave that word square. Leave that word square. Find the least number exactly divisible by 10, 15, 24, and 50. Find the least number. Forget that. Leave that word square. So find the least number exactly divisible by 10, 15, 24, and 50. So the LCM is the least number. What is the LCM here? We did not find the product, because we don't have to find the LCM here, meaning we are not asked to find the LCM. So we did not find the product. But the thing is, the LCM is the least number. The answer is LCM. Now, in our case, 2, 3, 4, and 6. The least number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. The smallest number. Please understand the question. Don't think, oh, I understand, I know the answer, go to the next one. No, it's not that. What is the question? Well, how do we understand the question better? We are trying to find the least number, the smallest number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. So the smallest number, that there are many numbers that are exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. There are many numbers, but the smallest number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6 is 12. There is no number smaller than 12 that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. So 12 is the smallest number. And what you should understand is 12 and all the multiples of 12 will be divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. But 12 is the smallest number. All the multiples of 12 will be divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. We have considered the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 6. And we are trying to find the smallest number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. And the number is 12. 12 is divisible by 2, 12 is divisible by 3, 12 is divisible by 4, 12 is divisible by 6. So 12 happens to be the smallest number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. Now this question has one more word. Find the least, not least number, least square number. Oh, so there we are struck. Is 12, okay, 12 is the least number. It's the smallest number that's exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. But is that the smallest square number? No, it's not a square number because 12 is not a square number. So how do we find the square number? How do you find the smallest square number? The smallest square number will be a multiple of 12. Will be a multiple of 12. So 12 twos are 24. No, but 24 is divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. But 24 is not a perfect square. So next number 36. 36, yeah, 36 is a perfect square. And it will also be divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6. So that is the least square number. The least number is 12, but the least square number is 36. If you understand this, then I can proceed. Otherwise, I'll have to tell you again. I've answered 2 questions. The least number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6 is 12. The least square number that is exactly divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6 is 36. 36. How did I find out? Without working, how did we find out? Just because the answer will be a multiple of 12. 12 twos are is 24. 24 also will be divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6, but that's not a square number. So then we move on to 12 threes are 36, and 36 is a perfect square, and that is the smallest number. Is this clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what it is, children. That is the basis of this working. Now you will be wondering why should this be worked like this? It's because first we find the smallest number, which is the LCM, and then we find the smallest square number. First, we find the smallest number, which is the LCM, and then the required, smallest square number. And that square number will be a multiple of the LCM, will be a multiple of the LCM. So that's what it is, children. So we first find the LCM of the given numbers, which is 2 square into 2 into 3 into 5. You don't have to multiply this. You don't have to multiply. You can leave it like this. You don't have to multiply this. So the smallest number is 2 square into 2 into 3 into 5 square. The required smallest square number. This is the smallest number. The smallest square number will be, now 2 and 3 don't occur in pairs. 2 and 3, because we know if a number has to be a perfect square, every prime must happen in doubles. Every prime must happen in doubles. So you can see from the factors here that 2 and 3 stand alone. So you need to multiply by 2 and 3. 1 more 2 and 1 more 3. Write out these factors. And since 2 is alone, 1, 2, and this 3 is alone, 1, 3. So that means you're multiplying the LCM by what? 6. You're multiplying the LCM by 6. 2, 3 is 6. You're multiplying the LCM by 6. Like we did 12 threes are 36. We multiplied by 3. Similarly, this LCM has to be multiplied by 6 to make it a perfect square. Okay, so 3600 or 3600 is the smallest square number that is exactly divisible by 10, 15, 24, and 50. Can we move on, children? Any questions? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this there in the video, children? This one? The students of a class are arranged.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the students, this is not there in the video?
Yes, ma'am, it's not there.
Okay. So the students of a class, what about this sum? Was this in the video? No?
No, ma'am.
Oh, a minute. Just give me a minute, children. I'll just unshare and share again. I think I'll just put you with some work. 1 minute. Let me ask you to do. Okay. Was this in the video? This 10, 15, 24, and 50, this one? You're not sure, I think. Let me check it myself. I'll just unshare and share again. Yeah. Yes. I had opened it's okay. Anyway, we learned something from there, but I was supposed to open this PPT. Yes, children, I'm in the right one now. All right, so I think you can do this by yourself. We just discussed one like this. Question number 9. Till here we finished in the last class, children. All this we finished in the last class. Moving on. 9, similar to this, we discussed 1. Now I'm talking about the 10th one. So find the square root of 81 by the repeated subtraction method. Find the square root of 81 by the repeated subtraction method. So you all know the square root of 81 is 9. Am I audible, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can see question number 9, 10, 11, 12, right? On your screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right, children. So find the square root of 81 by the repeated subtraction method. So we know the square root of 81 is 9. We know that. So how do we find it? By the repeated subtraction method. So see here. It's just to understand the beauty of mathematics. Now, don't say why all this method. So easily we can find the square root. Why should we do all this? Just to understand the beauty of the numbers, how beautiful mathematics is. So see here, 81 minus 1. So we keep subtracting. These are the odd numbers. These are the odd numbers from the beginning. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. We always start from the first odd number. We take up the odd number starting from 1. The given number is 81. 81 minus 1 is 80. Now take up this number 80. Subtract the next odd number. 80 minus 3, 77. Take up the number 77. Subtract the next odd number 5, 72. 72 minus the next odd number. So keep doing this till you will get remainder 0. Again, don't ask me what if we don't get remainder 0. If the number is a perfect square, you will get 0 as the remainder. If the number is a perfect square, you will get 0 as a remainder. So now how many steps, in how many steps did we get this remainder 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps. We took 9 steps to get the remainder 0, which means the square root of 81 is 9. Which means the square root of 81 is 9. So this is finding the square root of a number by the repeated subtraction method. You must have understood this, right?
Yes,
This
ma'am.
must have understood from the video. Yeah, right. Okay, the next one. Write a Pythagorean triplet. Write a Pythagorean triplet whose smallest member is 20. Now again, you must have seen that 2m, the expressions 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1 form a Pythagorean triplet. So what does that mean? It means that when you draw a right triangle, and you consider m square plus 1 as the hypotenuse and 2m and m square minus 1 as the legs. Look at the right triangle. In this right triangle, if you mark this as m square plus 1 and this one as m square minus 1 and this one as 2m. Right, mark this as 2. You can mark 2m here also. So the hypotenuse is this one. The hypotenuse is given by m square plus 1. The hypotenuse is given by m square plus 1. So in this triangle, if say you mark this one as m square plus 1 and this is m square minus 1 and this is 2m. How do you check Pythagoras theorem? You must find pq square. You must find qr square, add both. Find pq square plus qr square. And that should be equal to PR square. If PQ square plus QR square is equal to PR square, that means you have verified Pythagoras theorem. And that will hold good for these expressions. When you square 2m the whole square, children, we are familiar with the Pythagoras theorem, right?
Yes.
Yeah, now you tell me, children, so that I confirm that you understood. We'll assume PQ to be what? PQ to be
2m.
2m. QR to be
M square minus 1.
m square minus 1. And PR to be
M square plus 1.
m square plus 1. Now what we should do is we should find PR square. We should find PR square, that is m square plus 1 the whole square. M square plus 1 the whole square. You should square it, you get some result. Now here we must find PQ square plus QR square. PQ square plus QR square. You must square the hypotenuse separately and then you must find the sum of the squares of these two sides. PQ square plus QR square, that is 2m the whole square plus m square minus 1 the whole square. You will see that PQ square plus QR square, that result will be equal to the result you got in PR square. You don't have to verify all that, children. I'm just telling you that's what it is. Which means these three expressions can be taken as a standard for a Pythagorean triplet. So in general, we say 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1. These are the members of a Pythagorean triplet. Like when you don't know something, you say let something be x, let some other thing be y, let some other thing be z. So like that, in general, 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1 form a Pythagorean triplet. That is, if you take them as the sides of a right triangle with m square plus 1 being the hypotenuse, the theorem will be satisfied. That is PQ square plus QR square. That result will be equal to PR square. So So children, 2m, m square minus 1, m square plus 1, where 2m is regarded as the smallest member. These are called the members of a Pythagorean triplet. See this word member, member. These are the members. 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1 are the members of a Pythagorean triplet. Triplet is 3, doublet 2, doublet 2, triplet 3. So this is considered to be the smallest member. 2m is the smallest member of a Pythagorean triplet. So 2m, m square minus 1, m square plus 1, where this is the hypotenuse. M square plus 1 only is the hypotenuse. You cannot write this one. M square plus 1 only is the hypotenuse. All right. Now you need to write a Pythagorean triplet whose smallest member is 20. Oh, the smallest member is 2m. That means 2m is 20. The smallest member is 20. That means 2m is 20. 2m is equal to 20. M is equal to 20 by 2, right? M will be 20 by 2, which is 10. M is equal to 10. 2m is 20. That means M is equal to 10. Now let's find m square minus 1. So 10 square minus 1. 100 minus 1, 99. Similarly, m square plus 1. M is 10, right? So 10 square plus 1. 100 plus 1, 101. So 2m, what is 2? So these are the members, 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1. 2m is 20. Don't take m, not 10, 2m. So 20, m square minus 1, 99, m square plus 1, 101. So 20, 99 and 101 is the required Pythagorean triplet, where the smallest member is 20. Where the smallest member is 20. Is this fine, children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Similar this one, but let's see the difference. Though similar, what is the difference? Write a Pythagorean triplet, one of whose members is 15. So somebody is 15. So here not the smallest member. One member should be 15. One of the members of the 3 members, any one should be 15. So since here it was specific that the smallest member, so you must equate it to 2m. You must equate it to 2m. Smallest member means you must say 2m is equal to 20. But here it's not mentioned anything. One of whose members, so anybody is 15. So let's see. So let's equate 2m to 15. Let's equate 2m to 15. We get m is 15 by 2. 15 by 2 is not an integer, right? You will get some decimal value. 50. You must get an integer answer. Integer meaning you cannot get a negative value, of course. Some positive value. So here we get m is equal to 15 by 2. 15 by 2 is not an integer. So we discard this. We leave this. This is not possible. Let's try to equate 15 to m square plus 1. M square plus 1. When we equate this to 15, we get m square is equal to 14. M is equal to square root of 14. Oh no, this also is not fine. Because square root of 14 is not a perfect square. So we leave this also. Then let's equate this to m square minus 1. When you do this, you get m square is equal to 16. M is equal to 4. Yeah, this is an integer. This is an integer. So supposing when you worked m square plus 1, you got an integer answer. You can proceed with that. You can, supposing this was 18, 2m is equal to 18, m is equal to 18 by 2, 9. Fine, you can go ahead with that. So when the smallest member is 20, you should equate it to 2m. When one of the members is given, you can equate that number, that 15, to 2m or m square plus 1 or m square minus 1. Anybody, whichever works. We equated 15 to 2m, but we did not get an integer answer for m, so we leave it. Then we equated it to m square plus 1. Again, we did not get an integer answer, so we leave it. When we did with this, we got an integer answer. See, now maybe you would have started working with m square minus 1 is equal to 15. See, maybe you did not do this and this. You straight away did m, because you in your mind you could calculate, no? When you equate m square minus 1 to 15, this will go to the other side. It will become plus 1. So 16, yeah, you get the perfect answer here. So you can directly start with this. Not that you must show this step, and then come to this. Nothing like that. You can work only this step straight away. You can work only this step straight away. You don't have to show this and this. You can take up this directly. So m square minus 1 is 15. M square is 15 plus 1. M square is 16. M is 4. So now m is 4. So let's find the other member. So what is 2m? 2 into 4, 8. What is m square minus 1? 4 square minus 1. 16 minus 1, 15. And what is m square plus 1? 4 square plus 1, 17. So 8, that is 2m. 8, m square minus 1, 15. M square plus 1, 17. 8, 15, and 17 is the required Pythagorean triplet. Is this fine, children?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I just have a doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, why should we check whether the number is an integer or not, ma'am?
Why should you check if the number is an
Integer or not, ma'am?
Yeah, it becomes difficult to proceed otherwise.
Yes, ma'am.
It becomes inconvenient to proceed if it's not an integer.
Yes, ma'am.
And these three terms work for an integer answer. 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1 work only for integers.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, children, any doubts with question number 9, 10, 11, 12?
No, ma'am.
All right. So here it is, find the cost of, you have seen this in the video, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now all the children in the meeting just unmute and tell me your names.
Raja, ma'am.
Okay. Others?
Madhumita.
Sanjay, ma'am.
Sanjay?
Sindhu.
Hindu?
Danya, ma'am.
Danya? What about Kirtana and Devadarshini? All right. So find the cost of erecting a fence. Erecting meaning putting up a fence. Find the cost of putting up a fence around a square field. So imagine as you read, you should not just read the question like find the cost of erecting a fence around a square field whose area is 16. What's the point? It's not a speed reading competition. As you read, you must visualize it. You must see it in your mind. When you read, you must see that in your mind. Find the cost of, okay, some money is involved. Find the cost of erecting a fence. So imagine an empty piece of land and, you don't want, passerbys to, use your space. So you put a fence around it. You have an empty plot of land somewhere. So you want to, keep your land safe. Land safe meaning you want to protect your land with a fence. You don't want trespassers to just use up your land. So you want to fence it. So imagine something as you read it, just create your own story in your mind. So find the cost of erecting a fence, all right, around a square field. So you have a square field. And since it's very far, it's in your village, you protect your field with a fence. You protect your field with a fence. Okay. The area of the field is 16 hectares. So, 1 hectare is 10,000 meters square. So 16 hectares will be 1 lakh. Yes. 60,000 meters square. So this much we have understood. Now we need to find the cost of fencing at rupees 30 per meter square. Okay, let's come backwards. Let's come backwards, children. What's the cost of fencing? So like if the fruit seller says 1 kg of mangoes 50 rupees. The fruit seller says 1 kg of mango 50 rupees. and you want to buy, say 2.5 kgs. How much will you pay the mango seller? 1 kg, 50 rupees. So for 2.5 kgs, how much will you pay him?
125 rupees, ma'am.
125 rupees. So that means you must know how much you're buying. If when he says 1 kg is 50 rupees, you cannot simply give some money to him. You have to decide how much you want to buy. So if you want to buy 2 kgs, you will pay him 100 rupees. But if you want 3 kgs, then you have to pay him 150 rupees. So how much you spend on buying the mangoes, it depends upon how much you purchase from the mango seller. Similarly, the rate of mangoes 50 per kg. That's the rate. The cost is depending on how much ever you buy. The rate of mangoes are sold at the rate of 50 rupees per kg. Mangoes are sold at the rate of 50 per kg. But what is your cost? Rate is different, cost is different. Rate and cost are different. Though it is used, now in this question also, there is cost of fencing is rupees 30 per meter. But there is a slight difference between rate and cost. Rate is that per unit, cost. Now for 1 kg, it is 50 rupees. That is rate. But when you say you spent 125 rupees on mangoes, that is your cost. But it's used interchangeably. It's not used very strictly, but this is what it is. Rate is 50 rupees per kg. Cost is 125 rupees. What you spend is your cost. So the rate is given to be 30 per meter. So if you want to put up a fence of length 1 meter, you have to pay 30 rupees. So if it is 2 meters, 60 rupees. 3 meters, 90 rupees. 4 meters, 120 rupees. So you have to decide how many meters of fencing you have to do. You have to decide that. Like how you decided, or like how we decided we need 2.5 kgs of mangoes. Like that, you need to decide how much, how much of fence, what is the length of the fence that you want to put up? 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters. Okay, and the next thing is that we cannot decide. That is already decided by the plot which you own. You already have a square plot, right? So that you cannot decide that I want to put up fence only till so much length or so much length. Whatever is the perimeter, if you want to protect your land, whatever is the perimeter, that will be the length of the fence. Whatever is the perimeter, that will be the length of the fence. So supposing the perimeter of the square plot is 100 meters. Supposing the perimeter is 100 meters. 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters. Supposing the perimeter is 100 meters. Because fencing is done along the boundary, not inside. Inside is area. Inside it's the area of the field. Boundary is the perimeter. And fencing work is carried out on the boundary of the field. So you need to find the perimeter. So supposing the perimeter is 100 meters. So for 1 meter, you have to pay that person 30 rupees. For 2 meters, 60 rupees. For 100 meters, 100 into 30, 3,000 rupees you'll have to pay him. So to understand the cost of fencing, you should find the perimeter. Like how you decided you need 2.5 kgs of mangoes, you must find the length of the square park, length of the boundary of the square park. You need to find the length of the boundary of the square park. So how do you find the length of the boundary? You need to find the perimeter. Okay, now to find the perimeter, you need the side, because the formula to find the perimeter is 4 into side. To find the perimeter, you need the side. And to find the side, you are given the area. So work backwards, then you will understand why all these steps. So to find the cost, you need to know the perimeter. To find the perimeter, you need the side. And to find the side, area is given to you. So I have nothing more to say. So area is given. It's given in hectares. We convert that to meter square. Using the area, we find the square side of the square part. And using the side, we find the perimeter. And once we find the perimeter, the cost of fencing will be whatever is the perimeter into the rate. So so this is the length. So it's not 100 meters, not 200 meters, 1,600 meters. Then if you walk, supposing you walk on the boundary of your square park, if you walk along the boundary, okay, there's a mistake, no? In the question I've given field and here I've written park. I'll change it. Okay, so square field. Okay, square field. So when you walk on the boundary of your square field, you would have walked 1,600 meters, which is 1 kilometers and 600 meters. If you go, so if you want to do something towards fitness, then just go 1 round along the boundary of your field and you're done. You can jog, you can run, you will be covering 1,600 meters. You would have done 100-meter running race 16 times. That is the perimeter of your square field.
Ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am.
Okay, so 1 minute. So 1,600 into the rate will be the total cost. Yes, yes, Anish.
Ma'am, you wrote 30 rupees per meter, no, ma'am. But at the answer, you wrote 300 into 300.
Oh, yeah, by mistake. Yeah, you're right. By mistake, typing error. Yeah. Thank you. I'll correct it. Yeah. So to find the cost of fencing, you need to know the length of the fence. And the length of the fence will be the perimeter. The perimeter of the square field. The perimeter can be found using the side, and the side is found using the area. Can we go to the next one, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the next one, the area of a square field is 22,500 meters square. Now from the area, what can you find, children? From the area of the square field, what can you find? If I give you the area of a square field, with that, what else can you find?
Perimeter.
Ma'am.
Side.
Side.
You can find the perimeter, but to find the perimeter, we need the side, right? 4 into side.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so first you need to find the side. So when the area is given, you can immediately find the side of the square field. Okay, so the area of a square field is 22,500 meters square. All right. So now in your mind, you must say that, okay, from this I can find the side of the square field. You have the side. Now that you have the side, you can also find the perimeter. Now you have the side, meaning area is given, and you know that with the area, when you find the square root of the area, you can find the side. And now that you have the side, you can find the perimeter. So till there we have come. You know the perimeter. Perimeter is what? If you go 1 round along the boundary of the square field, that is a perimeter. If you do 1 round, you start from some point, you complete 1 round. That means you come back to the starting point. You walk along the boundary. So this is your square field. So you start from A, you walk like this along AB, then along BC, then along CD, then along DA, and you come back to the starting point. Now you have gone 1 round along the boundary of your field. 1 round you have gone. You will not go in the middle. You will not run here. You are going on the boundary like this, and you come back to the starting point. This is the perimeter of the square. This length, so 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15, 60 meters. In this case, 60 centimeters is the boundary, is the length of the boundary of the square. Like this, if you walk 15, like this 15, 15, 15. So the side of the square field is 150 meters. 100 meter running race. This is 150 meters. So the side of the square field is 150 meters. Now, children, one more thing is now in sums like this, you don't have to find the square root. What's the square root of 225? 15. And when you have 2 zeros, the square root will have 1 0. When the square number has 2 zeros in the end, its square root will have 1 0 in the end. We don't have to find the square root using the prime factorization method or the long division method, because like when the answer itself has so many steps, you don't have to find the square root. But well, if it cannot be found, well, if you need to calculate, if you cannot find the square root using the steps, if the number is something like, yeah, if the number is something like this, then you cannot do it mentally, in which case you have to find the square root like this using the long division method or prime factorization method. I'm saying like when the number is simple like this, ignore the zeros. The square root of 225 is 15. The square number has 2 zeros. So the square root will have half the number of zeros. So 1 0. If there are 4 zeros here, 2 zeros. If there are 6 zeros, 3 zeros. A perfect square will never end with odd number of zeros. A perfect square will not end with odd number of zeros. That's why 10 is not a perfect square, but 100 is a perfect square. 1000 is not a perfect square. 10,000 is a perfect square. But the converse is not true. All the numbers that have 2 zeros in the end will not be a perfect square. Like 100 is a perfect square, but 200 is not a perfect square. 200 also has 2 zeros in the end. No, but 200 is not a perfect square. If a number is a perfect square and it ends with zeros, if a number is a perfect square and it ends with zeros, then it will end with only even number of zeros. That is what it is. If the given number is a perfect square and it has zeros in the end, then it will have only even number of zeros. It will have 2, 4, 6, 8, even number of zeros. It will not have odd number of zeros. So supposing you're given a number with odd number of zeros, you can directly say this is not a perfect square. Okay, so here 225 is 15, 2 zeros, 1 0. So 150 meter is the side of the square field. Now with the side, you can find the perimeter. You can find the perimeter, so 600 meters. Now children, the question is very simple. Now see here, the area is given to you. Why is the area given? So that you can find the side and the perimeter. Now a man cycles along its boundary. So this man does not walk. He cycles along the boundary at 6 kilometers per hour. And you know that speed is equal to distance by time. You know speed is distance by time. So from that, you know that time is distance by speed. So you have to find the time. In how much time will he return to the starting point? In how much time will he come back to the starting point? That means if he's cycling at 6 kilometers per hour, in what time, how long will he take to go one round along the boundary? How long will he take? So you'll have to compute the time using this formula, distance by speed. Time, you should compute time using this formula, distance by speed. So you should find the distance he's gone. What's the distance he's gone? 600 meters. Why? Because that's the perimeter of the field. He's gone one round. Whether you walk or whether you cycle, you will be covering the same distance. When you walk on the boundary of the field, when you walk along the boundary of the field, whether you walk or you jog or you cycle, whatever you do, the distance you cover is 600 meters. The difference is only in the time. If you walk, you'll take a longer time. If you cycle, you take less time. But the distance covered is 600 meters. Now, why we convert that 600 meters to kilometers? Because the speed is given in kilometer per hour. Speed is given in kilometer per hour. So we convert meter to kilometer like this. Now use the formula. Speed is time is equal to distance by speed. And we know that the distance is 0.6 kilometers by speed, which is given to be 6 kilometers per hour. Speed is 6 kilometers per hour. So distance by speed. Distance is 0.6 kilometers and speed is 6 kilometers per hour. Speed is in kilometer per hour. So you should have distance also in kilometer. And then to shift the decimal point, we multiply the numerator and denominator by 10 to shift the decimal point. So that makes it 6 by 60, 1 by 10 hours. Because the speed is in kilometer per hour, the time you get will be in hours. So how do you convert that to minutes? Multiply by 60. So 6 minutes. So this guy takes 6 minutes to go one round. When he cycles, To cover 600 meters, he takes 6 minutes. So time taken to reach the starting point is 6 minutes. So with the area, you find the side. With the side, you find the perimeter. With the perimeter, now we don't know what to do. So what to do is you look at the question. The question is to find the time. Time is distance by speed. Distance is because he's going only one round. Suppose it's given that he goes 5 rounds. Whatever is the perimeter into 5. Suppose it's given he goes 5 rounds along the boundary. Then you must whatever is the perimeter into 5. That will be the distance covered. But here he goes one round. See, here a man cycles along its boundary at 6 kilometers per hour. Nothing is mentioned. In how much time will he return to the starting point? Nothing is mentioned. So one round only he goes. If he's gone more than one round, it will be mentioned. So since he goes only one round and the speed is given in kilometers per hour, the unit is kilometer per hour. We convert this distance also to kilometers, meter to kilometer like this. And then we just put it in the formula. Time is equal to distance by speed. Why did we use this formula? Because in how much time? So write this. Distance is 0.6. Time is, speed is 6 kilometers per hour. Then this is done to shift the decimal point. The answer which you get will be in hours because speed is in kilometer per hour. So answer which you get will be in hours. Convert that to minutes by multiplying by 60 and 6 minutes. Any question, children? Others?
No.
No, ma'am.
All right, children. Okay. Take up this in the next class because I want to give you a test now. Yes, please work this. Find a Pythagorean triplet, one of whose members is 63. Do this. All of you start working. 8b. Children, is it still happening?
Ma'am, almost in the last step.
Okay, yeah, please complete, yes. So you'll equate 63 to which number, which one? 2m, m square minus 1 or m square plus 1?
M square plus 1.
No.
-1, ma'am. M square -1.
M square minus 1, ma'am.
Yeah, m square minus 1. You must equate 63 to m square minus 1. M square minus, because 2m is equal to 63 will give you. Okay, complete it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I actually got m square minus 1, but I got confused as I saw 63 plus 1.
Yeah, 63 plus 1, correct.
So I thought it was m square plus 1, ma'am, but actually I got m square minus 1.
Okay, fine. Please complete it. Okay. No, is it a doubt or you're telling me that you also did it correctly?
No, ma'am, it's not a doubt. I did it correctly.
Okay. Yeah, fine. Okay. Yes. Yes, children. Okay. No, it's time. You should have finished by now. It's a simple one.
Completed, ma'am.
Completed? Okay, so what is the Pythagorean triplet?
16, 63 and 65 is a required Pythagorean triplet, ma'am.
Come again?
16, 63, 65 is a required Pythagorean triplet, ma'am.
Yes. So when you equate 2m to 63, m is 63 by 2, not an integer. When you equate m square, when you equate 63 to m square plus 1, plus 1, plus
No,
1,
ma'am.
when you
M
plus
is
the other
equal
side
to
is minus 1. So 63 minus 1 is 62. So m square is equal to 62. M will be square root of 62. Again, m will not be an integer there. So you have to equate it to m square minus 1. M square minus 1 is equal to 63. So work on solving this. Minus 1 goes to the other side as plus 1. On solving this, you get m square is 64. M is square root of 64. M is 8. So m is 8. Now let's find 2m, m square minus 1 and m square plus 1. Yeah. So this is right. 16, 63 and 65. Take a picture, children. If you have not completed, take a screenshot. Yeah, now do. Okay, it's time. Do this one. Oh, I think we discussed this also, right? That's what I took up. I opened the wrong PPT. This one has a test questions. Okay, fine. Take this one as you are supposed to do it in the class, but since it's time, I'm just winding up. Please take up this question and finish it. Evaluate. Oh, you have not learned cube root, right? Okay, sorry. You've not learned. Fine, children. Then I think you have to finish it by yourself at home. Take a screenshot of all these questions. Yes, please take a screenshot of all. I think last class you took them already. Okay, no problem. Take a picture, children. This and this one. So next class, we'll wind up with squares and square roots. And we'll be, if time permits, we'll start with the next chapter, understanding quadrilaterals. So next class, we'll discuss, I'll share the videos, the remaining videos, and you must understand. I think in this video itself, you would have understood how to find the square root of a decimal number, right? Was it shared with you? Finding the square root of a decimal number?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is what we will do in the next class. Next class, we'll just check how much we've understood on finding square root of a decimal number. I think with that, we'll wind up this chapter. Okay. So now it's time for you to go through all the sums in your book, and in case you have any questions, any doubts, get it clarified in the next class. Anything based on squares and square roots. So next class we'll discuss division, finding the square root of a decimal number by long division method, and I'll give you some NCERT exemplar sums for practice. And with that, we'll wind up this chapter and start off with understanding quadrilaterals. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. You may leave the meeting.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, children.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children.